Good morning. Today is April 7th. It is day 18 of our distant learning. If you look at number 7 right over here and you go up, we'll see that today is a Tuesday, and today is a very special day. Today we have a birthday. One of our friends in class today is turning 5 years old, and that's Aria H. Happy birthday, Aria H. Boys and girls, as we're listening to this, can we sing happy birthday to Aria? Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aria. Happy birthday to you. May the dear Lord bless you. May the dear Lord bless you. May the dear Lord bless Aria. May the dear Lord bless you. Happy birthday, Aria. I hope you have a beautiful and a wonderful day. Boys and girls, this week is Holy Week. It's the day that we remember the great, great love that Jesus gave us. On Thursday is the day we're going to remember the Last Supper, which is the last meal that Jesus had with his friends. And then Good Friday is the day that we remember Jesus' love, the day that he died on the cross, so that the gates of heaven could be open for all of us. And then Holy Saturday is a day of prayer. And then on Sunday, it's going to be Easter Sunday. It's the day that we remember the day that Jesus rose from the dead and came back to life again, showing us all that God's love, that there is life that we can have together with God forever in heaven one day. I have all of your assignments that I'll be showing you right after this morning on our video. And today will be the last day of our paperwork activities for this week. This week I have challenged all of you to be creative, to discover the special gifts that God has given us. Each one of us has special and unique talents and gifts and abilities, and we can use these things and to bring love and joy and comfort to others. I did want to show you, I spoke with you a little bit about my dad and his creativity, and I brought a couple things that he was a carpenter in addition to an artist, so he loved working with wood and natural materials. When I was little, he had a special rock collection. He used to love to study geology, and in looking through his things, I found this beautiful rock I think that you may enjoy. At first I thought it was a wood carving because of the way the outside of it was formed, but then when I turned it over, he found this beautiful pattern. He had kept this rock. Can you see the pattern on that rock and how beautiful it is? That is God's design. God made this rock in all of its beauty. And then my dad also loved to be out in nature. So later in his life, he made this carving of a wolf. You can see its mouth, and it's standing on a ledge. And this is all made out of wood. So he carved this and he painted that. That was something that he designed. I also have this carving of a wildcat that he made. See that? So this is all out of wood. I wish I had this in class for you to be able to touch it so that you could see how it feels in addition to how it looks. But I hope that you are having fun with your creativity lesson. Today you will be working on the first stage of it. So yesterday you had a chance to think about what you were going to do, how you were going to use your imagination. And remember that your creativity can be discovered through seeing. It could be something, music or a sound that you make, and it could be something that people listen to. It could be maybe putting together some different scents from nature or from your kitchen. It could be something that someone smells, an aroma, some beautiful scents that you mix together. It could be something that someone tastes with their tongue, or it could even be something that someone feels with their skin. Please remember that creativity, the creations that you make are not only things that we see, but we can use all of our senses to help discover beauty. Today I'm going to read chapter 2 of Charlotte's Web to you. Chapter 2 is called Wilbur. Fern loved Wilbur more than anything. She loved to stroke him, to feed him, to put him to bed. Every morning, as soon as she got up, she warmed his milk, tied his bib on, and held the bottle for him. Every afternoon, when the school bus stopped in front of her house, she jumped out and ran to the kitchen to fix another bottle for him. She fed him again at supper time and again just before going to bed. Mrs. Arable gave him a feeding around noontime each day when Fern was away in school. Wilbur loved his milk, and he was never happier than when Fern was warming up a bottle for him. He would stand and gaze up at her with adoring eyes. For the first few days of his life, Wilbur was allowed to live in a box near the stove in the kitchen. Then, when Mrs. Arable complained, he was moved to a bigger box in the woodshed. At about 2 weeks of age, he was moved outdoors. It was apple blossom time, and the days were getting warmer. Mr. Arable fixed a small yard specially for Wilbur under the apple tree and gave him a large wooden box full of straw with a doorway cut in it so that he could walk in and out as he pleased. "Won't he be cold at night?" asked Fern. "No," said her father. "You watch and see what he does." Carrying a bottle of milk, Fern sat down under the apple tree inside the yard. Wilbur ran to her, and she held the bottle for him while he sucked. When he had finished the last drop, he grunted and walked sleepily in the box. Fern peered through the door. Wilbur was poking the straw around with his snout. In a short time, he had dug a tunnel in the straw. He crawled into the tunnel and disappeared from sight, completely covered with straw. Fern was enchanted. It relieved her mind to know that her baby would sleep covered up and would stay warm. Every morning after breakfast, Wilbur walked out to the road with Fern and waited with her till the bus came. She waved goodbye to him, and he would stand and watch the bus until it vanished around the turn. While Fern was in school, Wilbur was shut up inside his yard. But as soon as she got home in the afternoon, she would take him out, and he would follow her around the place. If she went into the house, Wilbur went too. If she went upstairs, Wilbur would wait at the bottom step until she came down again. If she took her doll for a walk in the doll carriage, Wilbur would get tired and follow along, and sometimes Fern would pick him up and put him in the carriage alongside the doll. He liked this, and if he was very tired, he would close his eyes and go to sleep under the doll blanket. He looked cute when his eyes were closed because his lashes were so long. The doll would close her eyes too, and Fern would wheel the carriage very slowly and smoothly so as not to wake up her infants. One warm afternoon, Fern and Avery put on bathing suits and went down to the brook for a swim. Wilbur tagged along at Fern's heels. When she waded in the brook, Wilbur waded in with her. He found the water quite cold, too cold for his liking. So while the children swam and played and splashed water at each other, Wilbur amused himself in the mud along the edge of the brook, where it was warm and moist and delightfully sticky and oozy. Every day was a happy day, and every night was peaceful. Wilbur was what farmers call a spring pig, which simply means that he was born in the springtime. When he was 5 weeks old, Mr. Arable said he was now big enough to sell and would have to be sold. Fern broke down and wept, but her father was firm about it. Wilbur's appetite had increased. He was beginning to eat scraps of food in addition to the milk. Mr. Arable was not willing to provide for him any longer. He had already sold Wilbur's 10 brothers and sisters. "He has to go, Fern," he said. "You have had your fun raising a baby pig, but Wilbur is not a baby any longer, and he has to be sold." "Call up the Zuckermans," suggested Mrs. Arable to Fern. "Your Uncle Homer sometimes raises a pig, and if Wilbur goes to live there, you can walk down the road and visit him as often as you like." "How much money should I ask for him?" Fern wanted to know. "Well," said her father, "he's a runt. Tell your Uncle Homer you've got a pig you'll sell for $6. See what happens." It was soon arranged. Fern phoned and got her Aunt Edith, and her Aunt Edith hollered for Uncle Homer, and Uncle Homer came in from the barn and talked to Fern. When he heard the price was only $6, he said he would buy the pig. Next day, Wilbur was taken from his home under the apple tree and went to live in a manure pile in the cellar of the Zuckerman's barn. That's the end of chapter 2. Tomorrow we will read chapter 3, and the title of that chapter is called Escape. Wonder what's going to happen then. Boys and girls, enjoy putting your creativity project together with your family. If mistakes happen while you're starting to plan it, that's okay. That's how we learn. And Aria, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we'll see you tomorrow.